Fishing with the locals in the Amazon rainforest is an adventure full of surprises. You don't need to worry about going hungry because these people are true masters of survival. Leaves from local trees not only hydrate but also keep hunger at bay. For protein, they eat whatever they can find. The Kurilla brothers, for instance, only walked a short distance before catching a monkey in the trees, while Hillier successfully caught a freshwater fish with teeth that look eerily human. The inspiration for many terrifying legends. In the Amazon, fruits from certain trees are a staple food. During the dry season, when resources are scarce, they hunt small fish and frogs. Nighttime is the best time for fishing, as fish are most active. After dinner, Cyril went back to the riverbank to fish again. Despite the area being full of venomous insects and mosquitoes, he was undeterred. One moment, his fishing rod bent sharply under tremendous pressure. The next, the line was abruptly cut. Cyril suspected a large fish had pulled the line into a tricky underwater terrain. The next morning, he dove into the water to investigate. To prepare, Cyril tested the strength of the line by tying it to a wooden stick and wrapping it around his wrist while the Kurilla brothers pulled on it. Satisfied with the results, he attached a large piece of fish meat as bait and cast it into the lake. Cyril was determined to find a giant catfish, strong enough to pull a person underwater. After diving several times, he finally discovered a large underwater cave. As he explored further, a massive shadow struck him in the face, leaving his mouth injured. Even with a thin fishing line, Cyril trusted its resilience. All he needed was enough strength to reel in the fish, but this opponent was no ordinary catch. It fought fiercely, diving into the lake's deepest parts. Hillier, using all his strength, still couldn't overpower it and was slowly dragged into deeper water. When the Kurilla brothers joined to help, they found the hook bent out of shape, a clear sign of the fish's incredible power. Undeterred, Hillier switched to a heavy-duty fishing rod, durable enough to rival an aircraft, paired with a high-performance reel. No matter how far the monster fled, this setup ensured it could be pulled back. After over 20 minutes of intense struggle, the massive fish finally surfaced. It was a colossal Amazon catfish, its dark body giving it the appearance of a warrior. This fish's immense strength and endurance make it a formidable opponent that even seasoned locals fear. They say if one of these monsters gets caught in a fishing net, the smartest move is to abandon the net and retreat. Otherwise, the fish might flip both the net and the boat into the water. A sea cucumber revealed itself from a small cave. The fisherman quickly thrust his tool down, pressing the opponent firmly to the seabed. He tried to pull the sea cucumber out of the hole, but the creature clung stubbornly to the narrow crevice, refusing to budge. With no other option, fisherman took out his machete, deciding to attack the head directly. After a struggle, he finally managed to drag it out. This sea cucumber weighed an estimated 7 to 8 kilograms and could fetch hundreds of thousands of dong if sold. However, in these shallow waters, when the tide recedes, there are still plenty of similar seafood creatures to be found. This is the reality of life for fishermen in the Philippines. On the way, the fisherman spotted a fish lying still underwater. He picked it up and found it to be a blue-spotted starfish, barely clinging to life. According to him, the fish likely got trapped and ran out of oxygen. It's worth noting that blue-spotted starfish are incredibly rare, with a price of up to $500,000 dong per kilogram. This time, it was an effortless catch with a great reward. After placing the fish in the bucket, the accompanying photographer noticed something in the water. Reaching down to feel around, he eventually pulled up a small octopus. The octopus clung tightly to his arm, appearing clumsy and adorable. But in reality, these creatures can bite humans. A friend tried to remove it, but nearly got bitten. In the end, the octopus couldn't escape the human grasp. Meanwhile, other fishermen on the shore had substantial hauls. Seafood like sea urchins and seashells were so abundant that one only needed to stoop down to pick them up. If it were me, I'd probably stay here for 3 days and nights to gather all this seafood. Don't you feel a bit envious of the abundant resources here? Two brothers just caught a massive fish. Although they managed to haul it onto the boat, taming the fish was no easy task. Anyone who has fished for large catches knows these fish are aggressive and challenging to control. Once hooked, they often leap out of the water and thrash their heads repeatedly in an attempt to escape the hook. Fishermen call this move the Hesse trick of big fish. Even if you manage to bring the fish close to the boat's stern, it's dangerous to haul it aboard unless it's knocked unconscious first. Once on the boat, the fish will thrash uncontrollably, creating chaos. The younger brother tried using his foot to pin it down, but the effort was futile. Perhaps the older Brazilian brother, with more experience, could handle this type of fish better. Typically, fishermen knock the fish out as soon as it's caught, before pulling it onto the boat. What's unique is the way these fish are handled in their region. After bringing the giant fish back to the shore, the first step is to use a shovel to scrape off the scales from its body. The shiny scales glisten in the sunlight, each one nearly the size of half a hand. Here, Here, the value of fish scales is even higher than that of the fish meat. Most fishermen target this type of fish mainly to harvest the scales, which are sold for making handicrafts, especially unique chandeliers. What happens if you drop a crab into a tank with a mantis shrimp? The shrimp wastes no time. It quickly approaches, traps the crab in a corner, and launches a ferocious attack. Its punches are so fast, they outpace a speeding bullet with an explosive force that shatters the crab's hard shell. Once it has subdued its prey, the shrimp grabs the crab and drags it into its burrow. Under the relentless assault of the mantis shrimp, the crab stands no chance. But the mantis shrimp doesn't always have an easy meal. Even though it's called the Mike Tyson of the ocean, things get tricky when it encounters a clam with a super tough shell. The shrimp strikes repeatedly with all its might, but the shell doesn't budge. With punches that reach speeds of 80 kilometers per hour and immense kinetic energy, even this is not enough to break the clam's defense. It's a testament to just how incredibly tough that shell is. Yet, the mantis shrimp's tenacious nature means it won't give up. It keeps hammering away again and again for dozens of strikes. Finally, a crack appears in the shell. With that small victory, the shrimp grabs the clam, drags it into its burrow, and enjoys its hard-earned meal with satisfaction.